Hey everybody, my name is Brittany. I've been studying the Bible since April of 2017, and when I first started, I didn't know anything about it. It was a lot of information, it was overwhelming, sometimes stressful, so I wanted to start a Bible for Beginners Bible study, where we cover the basic overview of everything. This week we're going to start Isaiah. Isaiah is the first book of the prophets, and he is one of the biggest. It is, we could spend an entire year studying this book and still not get to everything. He's said to be one of Jesus's favorite prophets, one that he quoted the most. It's quoted in the New Testament numerous times. It's just a lot. So we're going to go over the very basics. Who was Isaiah? Isaiah was a prophet for Judah for over 50 years, from 740 BC to 686 BC. He was a prophet for many kings. Much of his writings was to warn people about God's upcoming judgment on their sins and to stop sinning. He was warning them, stop or this is going to happen. He mentions empty religion many times, which is kind of like going to church, preaching about God, the Bible, telling people about it, but not actually living it, not holding yourself to those standards. Coming off as religious, but not actually living it out. And many times those people refuse to listen to these prophets. Isaiah writes on how God uses other countries to defeat Israel and Judah. A lot of times God would use other nations and defeat Israel to bring them down, to humble them because of their sins. But God also goes back and punishes most of those countries because they were too prideful. They would say, hey, my army did this, my nation is good enough to do this, when in reality it was God. God could have used the smallest army he had of the world, the smallest nation, and still could have defeated Israel because he's God. Many of Isaiah's prophecies are also dual prophecies, which means that the prophecy will be fulfilled shortly and in the long term. A lot of this deals with Babylon. Babylon was a country, people that defeated Israel, but many times it's also used to describe Satan, the devil, ungodly earth in the end times, and in the world as a whole. There's many prophecies against certain places, nations, cities, where God tells Isaiah to tell them how they will be defeated, sometimes where, when, describing it, and their sin. Then it goes back to the wars against Jerusalem because of their sins and pride. But in a different light, you also see how God protects his people, his true people, and will restore them. Chapter 34 is about revelations again. 35 is the restoration of Judah after the Great Tribulation. There are amazing descriptions of Jesus in Isaiah. 71, 42, 49, 50, 53 are just a few. He's often referred to as the good servant, remnant of David, branch of David. Chapter 44 starts a small section about Cyrus, who is the king of Persia, who God sent him to allow the Jews to return and build the temple in Ezra. Remember studying that? This was prophesied here in Isaiah 200 years before it happened in Ezra. So it's one of the major prophecies that a lot of biblical scholars look at. We see a lot of Babylon, which was a city with a lot of hostility toward God. They were very wicked, idol worshippers. Like I said, Babylon is used a lot in synonymy with Satan and the devil for later times. The book ends with God's redemption and how finally worshiping God changes Israel for the better. in chapter 60. How God saves and redeems them, and everything is just so much better all around. They're fruitful, the land is better, the crops are doing good, the animals, the weather, it's just everything. And it also provides God's comfort for us, like a mother, in chapter 66, verse 13. Also mentioned at 65:17 is a New Jerusalem or millennial earth. And I did some research on this because it interested me a lot. And my research came up with the millennial earth is 1,000 years when Jesus rules and Satan and demons are cast into the abyss. Everything is peaceful, perfect. It's like a new Eden, kind of. People live to be hundreds of years old, like in the times of Genesis. Animals are vegetarian. They don't attack people or each other. And everyone speaks one language. So, like before, God dispersed the languages so that they confused and didn't understand each other. Throughout my research, people don't really agree when this will happen. So, it's kind of up in the air about that. You can make your own decisions on that. But that is Isaiah in a very small nutshell. It's so much. You guys have to read it, have to study it to really understand it better. Maybe one day I'll do a video delving deeper into the sections of Isaiah. Prophecy books are not my strong suit. I have a lot of trouble studying those, so it is difficult for me to really teach on those, but that is the overview. And next week we will look into Jeremiah, which was a little bit easier for me than Isaiah. Isaiah has always troubled me, but it's important to read it and study it and really try to concentrate and understand it. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time. God bless.